Thanks for coming by. I thought I would spend a few minutes sharing with you some thoughts and some words that I wish I had heard 40 years ago when I began my learning. The topic today is the purpose of the universe and your place in it, which we should be able to wrap up in 12 minutes or so. When I first began learning, I began learning about the idea behind all of creation and the Creator, and ideas and different philosophies concerning the purpose of the world. There were lots and lots of words and lots of ideas, and one flew in the face of the other, and one confused with the other ultimately resulted in a lot of confusion, and then one sets this stuff behind and back on the side burner. What I've learned since is there are some things that are so vast and so broad that they can't be captured either in ideas or in words. You come to the table and you think perhaps there is a purpose to the universe, and you have your ideas concerning it, or you say there's no purpose to the universe, everything is random, and you're satisfied with that. But you've come to the table, and the fact that you come to the table means you still have some curiosity concerning this. I have this argument occasionally with my scientist friends, especially the ones in Princeton. I meet with them and they tell me of the advances, the particles that have been discovered, the way the universe works within space and time. And then I say, yes, but, and they know what I'm going to ask. I said, have you discovered yet the purpose-tron? You see, the universe is made up of space and time that's expanding and contracting, but clearly there's purpose in the universe also, because we see, the processes of evolution all about us, and we see the way in which the body works and its wonders. We see the way in which the universe holds together, and we say, this is not without purpose. Surely there is purpose. And if there's purpose, there's a force behind the purpose. And so there must be a purpose-tron. Have you discovered it yet? And they say, well, that's not physics, that's metaphysics, and that's over in a different part of the campus. Now, if you think simply because we haven't discovered the purpose-tron yet that there is no purpose in the universe, consider we haven't discovered the graviton yet either. And you ask these same physicists, what is gravity and how does it work? They can't explain that either. And just because we can't explain how it works doesn't mean we're not subject to it. Try violating gravity and see what happens. The result can be quite uncomfortable. Now, if there is a purpose in the universe, if there is a flow of purpose, and you try violating that or resisting that, it might be that life becomes quite uncomfortable. So, what I would ask you to do as we begin to consider these things is to, as Coleridge says, suspend disbelief. Actually, suspend belief. Any belief that we might have concerning the purpose of the universe can't possibly be adequate to describe the purpose of the universe. We're talking about something that's so vast and something that is so subtle that words can't contain it. Perhaps the best words we have for it come from the book of Genesis. It's right there in the first chapter. The Holy One created the universe, and it says, Ruach Elohim merachepet al pnei hamayim. There was a wind from God that hovered over the face of the waters. Or Ruach, a spirit of God that hovers over the face of the waters. And hovering, we imagine, might be very gentle. It's like whispering over the face of the waters. Now, this Spirit of God, this very gentle whisper, is the purpose of the universe. It isn't a storm, it isn't a gale. It's a gentle wind that goes through the universe and provides direction. Now, it may be there, it may not be there. But if it is there, maybe we can test for it. You create an instrument to measure gravity, and gravity is there even though you can't describe the forces behind it adequately. We create an instrument for purpose. Perhaps we find purpose is there. So what is an instrument for purpose? Well, each of you is an instrument for purpose. The human being is a wonderful instrument to measure purpose and its effects. How do you do that? Well, that's the purpose of this talk. I have a diagram up here. We are going to set sail on a sea of purpose. So now you know what this diagram is. It is indeed the transom of a boat. And every boat needs to have a name. A boat without a name is neither here nor there. So the name of this boat is Where to? Where to is the only question that a mystic ever asks at depth. Where to? Given that I am here and now, where next? Where to? There is no other question. The only question that a spiritual master or a spiritual acolyte has is, where to? How do I best use my time and energies in order to further my partnership with the Creator in the process of creation? I may not be able to define Creator or a process of creation adequately, but nonetheless, here I am. And I subject myself to the forces of purpose, surrender, and allow myself to be moved, and then come back from that experience with a sense of where to. Consider a compass. Compass has a magnetic needle, and magnetic needle is suspended on a pivot and becomes nearly frictionless. What do we ask of a compass? We ask of a compass, where to? We say, show us, where is north? And once you suspend the compass, there is a magnetic force, which the compass isn't aware of, but it's there anyway. And the needle turns and spins, and then it comes back and sits and says, that away. So all we need to do then is become like the magnetic needle of a compass, sit frictionless, allow ourselves to be moved, and we come back with a sense of where to. So then the question is, how do we become frictionless? Well, we set sail on the sea of purpose. Now, setting sail means we have to set sail. Sitting alone won't do it. So, we have a sail. And the larger the sail is, the better it will be to pick up that flow of purpose, the wind of purpose, Ruach Elohim. How do we do it? First, to become comfortable in our physical bodies. This is the way all spiritual discipline begins. Any one of them, every single one. One sits, one breathes, one becomes accepting of one's physical body as it is. This is ever so important, as it is. No sense of loss for faculties I used to have. No sense of pride in faculties I still have. No anticipation of the weight I'm going to lose or the muscle I'm going to gain. Rather, being comfortable with what is. And then, after that, expanding the sail still higher and becoming comfortable with my emotional body, becoming comfortable with myself, my relationships, no sense of entitlement, no sense of resentment, rather recognizing those two extremes on one side and the other, and finding a point of balance so I be comfortable with what is. Then becomes something more difficult. More difficult still is giving up ideas and notions that I've held and sometimes hold dear. Admitting, ultimately, I don't know. I've created beliefs and disbeliefs in order to protect myself from my fears and so that I might walk unencumbered in the world a little bit. But for the moment, to recognize that all the beliefs I hold are only beliefs I hold and not necessarily reflective of the true nature of the universe. Not only that, I'm not capable, this tiny little entity in a universe so vast, a universe some 16 billion years old with another 16 billion years to go, to grasp and to formulate in words a belief system that can truly encompass it all. I may need one from time to time in order to function, but at this moment when I want to have a sense of purpose, I need to surrender it and to admit I don't know. I don't know. So that the belief system doesn't become like a sea anchor holding me back. Cut the cord for a moment and allow the boat to drift. When that happens, one finds oneself in a place one didn't expect. One finds oneself oriented in a slightly different direction, a slightly different path. If one pursues this meditative practice to some considerable degree, you may be lost for a while, lost at sea. But when you return to awareness of the structure around you, you find that the course is slightly different. Your eyes open just a little bit more. You can go back to port, put on your shell of belief, summon up your relationships, feel the extra fat that you might have in your body, make resolutions, and then after that your course will be slightly different. That course is your purpose. The purpose is not set by the hand of God, interfering, from moment to moment in your life. That course is set by the Spirit of God, who says, all things being equal, my intention is things go this way. And you, as sentient human beings, can participate actively in that process. Thank you for joining me in this Torah talk. I hope to have one more. Thank you.